and I were here at your hearing a number of years ago. Let me go back even before that. 46 years ago, I was not in the Senate. I was state's attorney in Vermont, and I watched with a great deal of interest the Elliot Richardson hearings. He'd been nominated to be Attorney General at the midst of Watergate. He made several commitments to the committee, including appointing a special prosecutor, and he promised to protect his independence. And I, as one who had total independence as elected prosecutor in Vermont, I thought how important it was to have the same independence at the national level. And Mr. Richardson said it was necessary to create the maximum possible degree of public confidence in the integrity of the process. I've never forgotten that. But I think the integrity of our institutions is just as much at risk today. President Trump has made it clear he views the Justice Department as an extension of his political power. He's called on it to target his opponents. He obsesses over the Russian investigation, which looms over his presidency, may define it. He attacks the special counsel almost daily. He fired both the previous FBI director and attorney general for not handling the investigation as he pleased. That tells me the rule of law can no longer be taken for granted. So if confirmed, the president's going to expect you to do his bidding. I can almost guarantee you he'll cross the line at some point. That's why the commitments you make here today, just like those I watched Elliot Richardson make years ago, matter greatly. So will you commit, if confirmed, to both seeking and following the advice of the department's career ethics officials on whether you must recuse from the special counsel's investigation?
I will seek the advice of the career ethics personnel, but under the regulations, I make the decision as the head of the agency as to my own recusal. So I certainly would consult with them, and at the end of the day, I would make a decision in good faith based on the laws and the facts that are evident at that time.
Same thing if you're talking about a conflict of interest?
Well, no, some conflicts, as you know, are mandatory.
I'm thinking what Attorney General Sessions, and when asked a similar question, he said he'll seek and follow the advice. Seek and follow the advice of the Department of Justice's designated ethics officials. So let me ask you, maybe in a different way. I know you promised to not interfere with the special counsel. Are there any circumstances that would cause you to terminate the investigation or any component of it, or significantly restrict its funding?
Under the regulations, Bob Mueller could only be terminated for good cause, and frankly, it's unimaginable to me that Bob would ever do anything that gave rise to good cause. But in theory, if something happened that was good cause, for me, it would actually take more than that. It'd have to be pretty grave, and the public interest would essentially have to compel it, because I believe right now the overarching public interest is to allow him to finish.
I would agree with that, but I also think over the past 18 months, you rather harshly prejudged the investigation in some of your writings.
Well, I don't see that at all, Senator. You know, when you strip away a lot of the rhetoric, the two things that have been thrown up as me sort of being antagonistic to the investigation are two things. One, a very mild comment I made that, gee, I wish the team had been more balanced. I wasn't criticizing Mueller. I believe that prosecutors, and I think you would agree, they can handle the case professionally, whatever their politics are. You know, a good prosecutor can leave their politics at the door and go in and do the job. And I think that's what Justice Department prosecutors do in general.
But you also are very critical of the Russian probe. And I mean, I can't think of anything that would, in your memo, for example, that would jump out more for this president because of his commitment to it. And I ask that because some have said on both sides, that it looked like a job application. And so that's what I want you to refer to.
Well, that's ludicrous. If I wanted the job and was going after the job, there are many more direct ways of me bringing myself to the president's attention than writing an 18-page legal memorandum, or sending it to the Department of Justice and routing it to other.
But also publicly criticizing a Russian probe. I mean,
how have I criticized the Russian probe?
You don't have any criticism of the Russian probe?
Not at all. I think I believe the Russians interfered or attempted to interfere with the election, and I think we have to get to the bottom of it.
So you would be in favor of releasing the investigative report when it's completed?
As I've said, I'm in favor of as much transparency as there can be, consistent with the rules and the law.
Do you see a case where the president could claim executive privilege and say that parts of the report could not be released?
Well, I don't have a clue as to what would be in the report. The report could end up being, not very big. I don't know what's going to be in the report. In theory, if there was executive privilege material to which an executive privilege claim could be made, it might, someone might raise a claim of executive privilege.
That'd be pretty difficult following U.S. versus Nixon, when the Supreme Court unanimously rejected President Nixon's claims of executive privilege over the Watergate tapes. But I ask him because the president's attorney, Mr. Giuliani, said the president should be able to correct the Mueller report before any public release. So in other words, he could take this investigative report, put his own spin on it, and correct it before it's released. Do you commit that would not happen if you were Attorney General?
That will not happen.
Thank you. You had, when you're AG, I remember this well because I was here in the Senate at the time, you encouraged President George H.W. Bush to pardon all 6 individuals who were targeted in Iran-Contra. The independent prosecutor investigating the matter labeled that a cover-up. Now, you and I talked about this in my office, and I appreciate you coming by. I found the conversation the two of us had be well worthwhile. Do you believe a president could lawfully issue a pardon in exchange for the recipient's promise to not incriminate him?
No, that would be a crime.
Thank you. In 1990, you argued that Congress' appropriation power is not an independent source of congressional power to control the allocation of government resources. Only 3 committees in the Senate have a vice chairman. Appropriations is one of them. Obviously, as vice chairman, I kind of looked at that. You claim that if a president finds no appropriated funds within a given category, he may use funds from another category, as long as both categories are in his constitutional purview. Now, this says Vice Chairman Appropriations Committee. Don't be surprised I disagree. Congress's power of the purse, Article 1, Section 9, I believe constitutes one of the most fundamental and foundational checks and balances on the executive branch. So do you believe the president can ignore Congress appropriations allocations, conditions, and restrictions in law? Just ignore them and take the money?
Not as a general proposition, but that was a general proposition. I actually thought that was a good law review article.